Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Howdy.
And the Nimp.
Hello.
This is a second of our two mailbag episodes. We are on podcast vacay. I am on actual vacation, and these guys are having their own...
Enjoying time off.
Yeah, having a little staycation.
Time off.
Yeah, a podcast
Probably
staycation.
just staring at a wall thinking
That's right.
I should be playing a video game right now.
That's right.
No,
right.
staring at a wall thinking, thank God I don't have to play a video game right now.
That's right.
Yeah, but now's the time to get ahead of it, so that way I'm ahead of the next episode.
That's right.
Don't ruin my dreams.
You too can get ahead of all the great content we provide over at patreon.com/E1M1.
Those ones are the numbers, by the way.
We talked about it every week, but we put out like 400 episodes a week. All of them are great. We don't delete any of them either. So if you're getting in on the Patreon now, you can go back to the beginning of the Outcasts, which we have like over 150 Outcasts now up there, which is wild.
Something like that.
You get that. You get the exclusive access to the Critical Misses production meetings. You get access to the Wayward Sons, the watchcast for the Supernatural TV show that Moon and Nimp are going through. You can get access to all that. You get early access to We Were Like It, Critical Misses, all that stuff for just $5 a month, not per episode. Remember, your rich friends can pay $5 per episode, which works out to be like $2,000 a month, which would be great. But between you and I, is really just $5 a month over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
All right, so this is the second mailbag. Again, thank you very much, everyone, for sending in all your messages last week and this week. We are going to start off with a voicemail from longtime fan and friend Clarissa. She sent in a voicemail here. I cleaned the audio up here a little bit. It might be a little bit quiet on the video version. If it is, I'm sorry. I'll clean that up. Someone will fix it in post. This guy with the thumbs. But we're gonna listen to it here, and then we'll talk about her question here. So we're gonna start the voicemail now.
Hello, TVGP community. Hard for me to believe that it's been well over a year since the last time I sent you a voicemail. So I figured, what better time than when you're looking for mailbag submission. So I'll preface this by saying, back at my last yard, I had a couple of friends who really liked to play NBA 2K. And one day they're playing like Raptors versus Warriors like they do. And there was this really strange glitch where the ball just kind of rocketed out of the player's hands into the crowd. And we're like, what was that? So we go back, we look at the replay, and Steph Curry, mid-dribble, just kind of puts his hand out, holding the ball up on his palm, almost, it's dangerous to go alone, take this, which is already kind of weird. And then the ball just kind of fires randomly at a right angle to his body off into the audience. It was so strange. And it was just one of those kind of moments where you swear if you just pan the camera around a little bit more and zoomed in on the crowd, see a little green guy in a hood with a basketball going, I have money on Toronto, I do. So my question is, do you have a favorite funny anecdote about a glitch or any other gaming exploit, I suppose? That's all for now. Love y'all. Clarissa out.
All right, thank you to Clarissa for sending in that voicemail.
I'm assuming that's team names, by the way. I kid.
The doubt in my heart was just like, oh god, I thought those were real basketball teams. And then you said, like, I'm kidding. I was like, okay, all right, I do know something about a little bit of one sport. So my favorite one, it isn't a specific game, but was a console. So when we were growing up, when I was like 8 or 9, we moved into the house that we lived in up until my parents retired to a different state. And we had a Sega Genesis. And
are you about to talk about the Sonic and Knuckles dock thing?
No, I wish. This is haunted.
that was the thing that came to my mind, was putting Sonic 1 in that thing.
Right, and hitting like, what was it, A, B, and C and start at the same time or something?
Something like
yeah.
that.
And then it was like, here's 400 levels of that game. It's just like, oh, geez,
Mhm.
okay. No, we had this Genesis, and at some point, because we were kids, like my brother is 4 years younger than I am, and my sister is 8 years younger than I am. So at some point, we had this Genesis that grape juice got spilled on/in because
Oh, the perfect juice for this. Yes.
right, it like had to happen at some point, and the Genesis still worked fine. But weird stuff happened to literally every game we put in there. And one of the strangest ones was eventually we found out this was a cheat code, but we had some boxing game. I don't remember what, but every time after we fired it up, there was a fighter that was green, and like you couldn't even configure a fighter's look at all. And at that point it was just like, oh yeah, well here's the green fighter, and he like rocked our world. It's like, all right, we're just gonna reset the Genesis until you don't get the green dude and like the Hulk doesn't bust through, and then you're good at that point. And it was like every game we put in the Genesis after that point was a little bit haunted. Like it still worked, but every once in a while it was like an accidental game genie where you're like, oh, well, I have infinite ammo on this level, but not the next one. Or like, oh, in this game, I have unlimited time for some reason, and next time I fire it back up, it's totally fine at that point. So,
Man,
the
I
whole
wonder if it
thing
was
was
just like a
really
weird
weird.
contact. with
Yeah,
the
I think like
cartridge.
something got messed up in, a contact or something like that, that it still worked totally fine. It's probably the Genesis I have in this closet over here, which I guess I should check for ants now that it's been 30 something years. But like it
Don't
was like,
worry. They ate that residue a long time
that's right.
ago.
Yeah, their
Probably
new
works
concern
fine
is
now.
the PSP battery starting to balloon. Go check your PSPs, everyone.
Mhm.
Yes.
But I feel like that was the kind of fun where it's like we didn't break the Genesis, but it was all kind of slightly spooky after that point.
Oh boy.
I don't have anything cool like that.
No, I mean we don't. We're not
Sorry, I
going
shouldn't
to.
even-
That's the problem.
I shouldn't have even started with that.
Yeah,
No, you
Boston,
shouldn't have. You should
Boston
have finished
ruined
with
it.
that.
I know.
No, because like I was sitting here thinking like when like Skyrim, like the first week of that game coming out, just all the weird
yeah.
between the dragons flying backwards, dragons not showing up, the giant trolls like hitting you into outer space, and
Mhm.
everything going on with that game. But
I for me, I love a good visual glitch, but I think the hilarious ones to me are always the mechanical ones where the gun starts firing sideways for some reason.
mhm.
Mhm.
So when you want to shoot somebody, you have to aim at them, then turn 90 degrees to the right,
That's
and then hope that you're actually going to hit them.
Bank it off a wall.
Yeah, in all honesty, a really good way to get some stupid glitches like this is to get a 360, get a bunch of 360 games, and then just don't connect it to the internet.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
Yeah.
See how wild that stuff still is?
See how many T poses you find, and
That's right.
100%. Like my dad had me and my dad both had 360s. He didn't have the internet at his place, so whenever a game was coming out that he was excited about, I had to go to his house, and I didn't have a car,
Mhm.
so go on the bus to his house, pick up his 360, take it back to my house,
Sneaker net of
plug it into
360.
the internet, plug the game into the internet, so that the game then downloaded all of its updates, because we found out real quick the amount of game-breaking bugs that occur. Like, he
Mm.
got like 42 hours into New Vegas and then hit a game-breaking bug that was a nightmare.
dude,
Oh,
I
no.
had that too. I don't know if it's the same one, but yeah, I had the same thing, and that was what stopped me from playing New Vegas for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Mhm. So from that point on, like anytime he was interested in something, I would literally take the game and the console from his place to my place, plug it in, get it all updated, get all the games he's currently playing updated, and then send them back to his house so that he could then play the games without the game-breaking glitches and
That's great.
all of the rest of the stuff. Like, go play Alpha Protocol still if you want some interesting bugs.
Yeah. I actually did just find the game and the character here. It's Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing on the Sega Genesis, and you fight against the green dude who's called the Beast. And he's like nearly maxed stats in everything. Also, I don't even know why we had a boxing game as like a family who was never really interested in boxing, and I don't think we ever really liked the game, but I think we liked playing as this character, the Beast. What a weird
I wonder if it
thing.
just came with like a random bundle. Your
Yeah,
dad or mom
probably.
bought a game and
Yeah.
it came with it.
Yeah, it came with like a Sonic 1 and a sports game, and it's like, here, we have the most copies of this, so go nuts. So,
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm trying to think of other bugs and glitches that are cool. Like, I feel like the sports games are rife with this stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
it's always hilarious seeing the pre-release footage come out for sports games. I mean, EA had the NBA game that just was broken so bad that they didn't release it.
Right.
Whichever one that one was. You've got the NFL game that had like the visual mappings for the zones showing through everything last
Right.
year, which was
Right.
always hilarious. And I mean, go play any WWE game from the past 5 years,
Oh,
like to see
man,
referees
yeah.
like bouncing through ropes and being launched into the stratosphere as well. Like, that's just
I feel like my favorites were always probably the introduction for most of us to some of this stuff was GTA 3, where it's like,
yeah,
you-
open world jank at its
Yeah.
finest.
and like you turn a corner and the road just isn't there, and cars are just driving off into the abyss. Like you're driving down the freeway, and right next to you is a car driving along upside down and just sparking like crazy. You know, like that was all the stuff I really loved.
I've got one that just
Hmm.
jumped into my head. Pokemon Red and Blue, Missing No.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's a good
yeah.
one.
And
Yeah.
then the duplication glitches with Ditto and stuff where
Yeah.
you could get Mew. I don't remember how that whole thing worked out, but
I
you could
don't
get Mew
remember.
somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
you
you had to surf to an island that had a truck, and then you had to use strength to move the truck, and there was all.
It was one of those ones where it's like, this cannot possibly work, and it's like, oh, it did?
It does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because that was like, EGM was still running their April Fool's thing. It's like the Shenlong famous one from Street Fighter 2. Like, it was always those things where it's like, all right, you fooled me twice before, maybe even 3 times, EGM. I'm not gonna believe this Pokemon Mew thing. Thank you very much. It's like, oh no, that actually did work. Okay, my friends did it.
I know Mortal Kombat the original ones did weird stuff like that too, where it's like if you did something at a very specific time,
With,
you had
like,
a chance of
Reptile.
something happening. Yeah, because
Yeah.
even when the internet finally became a thing, it was rife with misinformation and information of things that were happening, and no one could pin down what was happening until years later.
When you're in the arcade and people were like, there's this thing called a babality in MK3
Yeah.
where people turn into babies. It's like, what are you trying to tell? What are you trying to get me over? Like you said, you have a bridge to sell me, and then like one of the good fighters, you know, in the arcade, because there's always like 1 or 2 kids that were really good. They pulled it off, and it's just like a babality or a friendship or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
what is this game? What's happening here? My goodness, man. Yeah, I feel like we don't, a lot of the stuff we see now for bugs and stuff like that, I feel like we see more and more out of bounds stuff where it's like, oh, I wedged myself into the corner of the map and I blew myself with a rocket launcher, and then when it respawned me, I was like outside of the map and I can see the entire like development area. I feel like we see that a lot now, but a lot less other stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. It's like more recently, it seems like, oh yeah, these are like save deleting glitches or
Yeah.
like straight up game breaking things where it's like, hey, you have to send your cart back to Nintendo so they can fix, Metroid or
You know what I just saw last night as I was looking around the internet is Star Wars Jedi Survivor has sequence breaking protection. So there's some stuff in the game where you can accidentally get out of sequence and like soft lock your save, and the game will identify that and say like, you can keep playing if you really want, but we're going to recommend you go back to a save from before that we can help you load. And the message is even like, you might lose a little bit of progress, but you'll be able to finish the game. And if you say no, you can keep playing, but every time you load the save, we're going to let you know that again. I was like, dang, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'll play for 15 more hours and be like, hey, where's this thing on this planet? And it's like, ooh, funny story. You gotta start the whole game back over. That was pretty nice. So, all right, thank you very much, Clarissa, for sending a voicemail in. Super appreciate it. Thank you. Bill Sefford has our actually. So we only have 2 people on this episode, Clarissa and Bill, because Bill sent in a bevy of questions and figured probably the whole rest of the episode will have all of these. So we're just gonna bundle them all together. Thank you very much, Bill. So. First up, lesser-known titles. What are or is a lesser-known title that you absolutely adore? It says for him, it was EVO Search for Eden, side-scrolling evolution action RPG for the Super NES, and Rad Robot Alchemic Drive, the mech/kaiju battler for the PS2. I would highly recommend both. What came out on the Dreamcast that I loved?
No, I never owned a Dreamcast, so I have no idea.
That's the real question here.
I've got like Lunar 1 and 2 from the PlayStation 1.
Right.
Or like games I absolutely love, and I have like the collector's edition back there on the shelf that I skipped a lot of lunches in middle school to be able to buy.
Yeah, that was like Working Design's first real thing of like, oh, someone is kind of making a cool thing here. Like a cool, they're taking JRPGs seriously, which we now know in hindsight, not really, but it was a pretty good time.
I mean, for the time.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm looking at my Dreamcast games here. What do we have? Oh man, Metropolis Street Racer. Oh, I loved that game. That was the like prelude, the early version of and I guess eventually turned into Forza, if I remember correctly. PS1 and PS2 were really good for... I can't say like Amplitude and Frequency, because those I've talked about those games for, whatever, the last 20 years or so.
I mean, one could potentially argue that a lot of what we talk about here are sometimes niche stuff. I mean, when you get right down to it, how many people actually know the name of Dark Cloud?
Right.
That hurts my soul when you say it like that.
I know.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
I'll say no. I can't argue, and that's why it hurts.
Right.
Dude, White Knight Chronicles. Have any of you played that 1 and 2?
I never played it, but I think I have a copy of it for PS3.
I loved that game because it also had the Dark Cloud elements of you get to build your own village by placing buildings and stuff like that around in like this empty lot, and then you actually go into your village and you buy like equipment and your supplies and stuff from the village you created, and then go back out. Meanwhile, you're sitting there grinding out like all your individual stats because it's got bars within bars. And
there you go.
So I loved White Knight Chronicles 1 and 2, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone really talk about those.
No, yeah. On PS2, Shadow Hearts Covenant, that JRPG that had the circle that you're
the
timing.
Judgment Ring.
Yeah, the Judgment Ring. Yeah, it was a really cool timing-based thing where you could configure how many like areas of the circle were filled in, and if you hit it in the area, it would do normal attack, and then had like a little tiny area for a crit. So you're kind of trying to time your attacks in this bar, in this circle to do attacks. It was really cool. It had probably one of the most bonkers JRPG stories of all time.
Yeah.
It was really wild.
The third one was super weird too.
Yeah, I never finished the third one. The first and third one didn't click with me, but I really liked the second one.
I got all 3 of those back there too, and I absolutely love how crazy. I think those were part of the reason why I love how crazy JRPGs tend to get. Especially when you're playing 3 and you're spending half your time just getting clothes for this doll.
Right. I think that's probably about the time where I tapped out of that one.
Oh man, I was there for the ride at that point. I'm like, all right, let's see how crazy this gets now.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can look up this game on YouTube to see if anyone has coverage of it. Oh man, they do. Okay, so there's this game I really loved on PC. It's from a British studio, I believe. It's called Baldies. I played it on PC in early 90s, I think, and it was essentially like kind of like what eventually Overlord turned into on 360. It was this kind of management game where you're managing all these little bald dudes and you're giving them different jobs, kind of building your town and defending them against other enemies and stuff like that. It was really exceptionally weird, but me and my best friend at the time played it a whole lot because I think we were looking for something kind of like Dungeon Keeper or SimCity, like some of those management games, and found this on probably like a PC Gamer demo disc. And we're just kind of like, okay, we'll play this weird bald guys game? Sure, why not? And I don't think I've ever heard anybody else talk about it.
It looks like Keflings. Kieflings?
Yeah, Kingdom of Keflings. Yeah, it looks very much like that, yeah.
That was the time for British development. It was like late 80s, early 90s. That was
100%.
That was
came out on this
Worms.
ZX Spectrum and PCs, IBM PCs.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, the original Worms. Played that so much.
Me too. Way too much.
Talk about fun glitches in games. The original Worms, you could hit the 1 key and 2 key on your keyboard at the same time, and you would turn the 1 key was rocket launcher and the 2 key was a minigun. If you hit them both at the same time, you would have a minigun that shot rockets. So you're just like firing 200 rockets at the same time. We abused that so much. We played like couch co-op and we abused that so much.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
I mean, ones we've talked about on the show before. Vampire. Way underrated game.
That's a good modern example of like an underrated gem.
Yeah. Like that game is so good. Alpha Protocol. We talked about it a short while ago.
Yep. The B game of all B games for this show.
Yes. There is literally a category at the end of the year for that type of game for a reason. So I think I mentioned this maybe on a science episode. Sorry, maybe a colleague of mine and mentioned this on a science episode one time.
Right. A PhD colleague of yours?
Yes. Or am I DD? Yes. I don't know. I think my one of these, and it shows you just how much of a broken brain I have, is probably Azure Dreams for the PlayStation 1.
Oh boy. I forgot about that game.
Which, for those of you who don't know, is a Konami Pokemon knockoff that also happens to be a roguelike.
Right.
Before it was a thing, before it was branded,
back when it was just hard.
Right. Yes. It's a dungeon crawler.
It's a dungeon crawler roguelike with randomized dungeons, and you can get like pets and animals that you gather and take through the game with you. It is ridiculously like deep and ridiculously good and so hard.
Yeah.
Like I struggle with that game because at the time I didn't have a concept of what roguelikes were. I was a child.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't a genre.
So it was just one of those things where it's like, cool, I got a great dragon as a pet friend, and then I go in the dungeon, lose the dragon in 2 minutes flat, and then get annoyed, and then try and basically quit the game and move on to the next thing.
Right. Yep. Man, I forgot about Azure Dreams.
It's so good and so bad at the same time.
Can I just put a shout out there for Mag?
Yeah,
always.
Game is.
I feel like Mag is infamous because of its name that didn't actually publish with that name, but Massive Action Game is you can't live that down. And I just want to talk about Mag. Mag is always cool. We talk about Mag a ton on the show.
That game was doing things that games these days still can't do.
Yeah.
Like It was like 256 people aside.
Yeah.
There's
in that
so
game.
many people, and it worked. Like it genuinely
it
really
did.
did work.
It worked. It worked pretty much flawlessly.
Yeah.
And the whole nature of the game of each side being broken into smaller squads, it's just like it was so great. Like I got so much pain in my hands playing my PlayStation because of that game, but I
Mhm.
would do it again because I loved playing that game.
Especially playing, I think, what was it, Raven, that had the anti-material sniper rifle. Once I
Yeah.
finally got that, and I'm sniping people across this giant map with that thing.
Yep.
Oh man, I loved playing that game.
I gotta put a special shout out here, a game I keep forgetting about, Drill Dozer on the Game Boy Advance. It was one of those really big cartridges that had rumble in the cartridge. And the whole thing was like you're this kid that's driving this drill that you're using to use the drill to attack enemies, and you're kind of like shifting the drill up and down as you're attacking big enemies, and the the cartridge and your Game Boy Advance were drilling more as you were kind of shifting the thing up and down. It was really cool. It was fairly straightforward platformer, but using the drill was actually really fun. It was like that era of like that and Boktai, where it's like
I was just gonna mention
the cartridge
the
does
Sunshine.
something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really cool. I'm trying to look through my collection here to see if I have anything that's like that that's kind of weird. Oh,
What was the Kojima game that was only that had differences based on if you were in the sunlight or not?
that was Boktai. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They made 3 of those? At least 2 of those, if not 3 of those.
I want to say they rebooted one of them to
Yeah,
a
'cause-
slightly more modern handheld.
yeah, and they pulled out some of the light and dark stuff out of it, and they put it on
Yeah.
the DS, 3DS, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Also, probably my last one. The very first Mario versus Donkey Kong that came out on Game Boy Advance.
Is that the one with the little builders?
Yeah, this was a really cool little puzzle game where you're trying to figure out how to get Mario and sometimes like a couple of copies of Mario to the very end, like a doorway with a big key on it. And it was really fun, and none of the sequels did this same thing. But it was this really fun kind of platforming puzzle game thing that we don't always see, especially out of Nintendo, but they kind of took a little bit of a different spin on it, which I appreciated. The other ones were like weird kind of regular platforming things, but I played a lot of that because there were, I don't know how many hundreds of levels were in that game. It was great.
Do you think Immortals qualifies for this list? Which I'm specifically talking about Immortals Phoenix Rising, the Ubisoft Skyward Sword, Ubisoft Breath of the Kingdom Wild, whatever it's called
Man,
thing.
I would think so, probably because I'm probably the only person that platinumed that game and genuinely enjoyed it. Everybody looked at it and they're like, "Oh, another Ubisoft thing here." It's like, yeah, but not really. Like they took
way. Yeah.
they took Assassin's Creed and they like shrunk it down to 10% of the size and then put a bajillion puzzles in there. Like that was a cool game. That was a lot of fun.
I am glad to see Prey finally seems to be getting its flowers over the past 12 months or so.
Yeah, I think with Redfall kind of landing flat, I think everybody's like, cool, now go play Prey. That's the game you wanted this to be. And it's like, yes, go play Prey. It's very good. And it's like $4. Oh, Bioshock 2. I was watching a speedrun. Summer Games Done Quick just wrapped up here. Sorry, I mean a couple weeks ago. And someone was like, man, Bioshock 2 could have been great, but if they would have only put this combat in a Bioshock 1, that would have been a perfect game. And I was like, shut up.
Shut up.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Bioshock 2 is the best one.
Reasons.
Yeah, Bioshock 2 is so good. Oh, I forgot how... I had to stop watching that speedrun, not because of that comment, but because I'm like, if I keep watching this, I'm just going to play Bioshock 2 again, and I really don't have the time to just squeeze the life out of that fantastic game.
Yeah. Oh,
man,
I've got a good one for this.
Mm-hmm.
WWE All-Stars, the fighting game disguised as the wrestling game.
Oh.
This was the late. Well, Ryan Davis was a big proponent of this on Giant Bomb. This is the overly big cartoon character, like kind of wrestling guys. And it was very much a rock, paper, scissors kind of combat sequence where like punches canceled out grapples, but strong grapples went through blocks, that kind of stuff.
Oh, interesting.
And like all of the moves were like super over the top, super exaggerated, and like it had the cool combo system where like when you'd hit someone, they'd hit the floor, but then they could bounce. So if they bounced, you'd be able to
Do an
catch
air
them in
juggle.
another move. And it was surprisingly well done. Like the nature of the design of the game was fantastic. Like everyone was just that oversized madness. And when like
Some
a
Gears of War
finisher
looking
hit,
stuff.
100%. And when like a finisher hit, it was the thing that they did where it would go way into the sky depending on the move, and it'd be all colors and flinging and things like that. So
That's
you'd get
cool.
like the streams around stuff. Like it was probably the best WWE wrestling game ever made, would be my argument on that. It was ridiculous fun.
If you're watching the video version here, we're watching footage from the PSP version. I love that it was, here's the like introduction sequence, loading screen, character intro, loading screen, other character, loading screen. Now I can fight. The PSP.
Yeah, the graphics on like the 360 version were really crisp as well. Like it looked so good on like the 360 version. Like literally cartoon characters of the heroes. Like there you go. There's the chokeslam getting done on the video feed, which he double jumped and flipped and did a whole bunch of other stuff. It's so stupid.
That's very cool. That's a cool
wrestling
idea.
Anime game.
Yeah, like try new stuff with wrestling. Like,
is.
that'd be great. Oh man. All right, next question here. Delisted mobile games. What are some mobile games that you went all in on or became a problem, but isn't supported or is delisted altogether? So he actually names...
Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is my choice. Don't you dare correct me. It has been delisted.
It's dead to you. Did they relaunch it at some point or something?
I'm pretty sure it's still going, dude. I just don't...
It's delisted in your heart to save you.
Yeah.
I played it on an iOS device, got hundreds of hours in, then the iOS device died, and I can't continue from a different device. So, get the hell out of here, EA.
That's right. He says... He actually picks one of mine. He says, I was a big fan of Mobius Final Fantasy and Marvel's Avengers Academy. Both were great, but had issues, mostly of the cash-grabby variety. Yeah, Marvel Avengers Academy was kind of my problem game for a really long time. That was really the great combination of, boy, these developers actually really get how to make kind of a cool kind of tongue-in-cheek Marvel game, and then somehow well balanced up until the very end, the kind of hurry up and wait system of a lot of these mobile games. Myself and like so many people of the TVGP community spent so much time.
Got lost in that too.
Yeah, like so
every
much
time we had a
so
game club, it was you and Musum talking for like 20 minutes while I was getting ready about Avengers Academy, and I was like, "Come on, guys!"
It was really great. It's one of those things where this game probably would have lived on for a really, really long time, but you could feel the switch flip at some point where it's like, all right, this is starting to get pretty grindy, but I've been playing this for a year and a half, so you're gonna put something down and it'll be like 48 hours before it's gonna work. That's fine, no big deal. But then you get that greediness flip at some point where it's like, man, these skins seem pretty cool. How does $20 sound? Or you're not going to get them as part of this event, or like juice up this event for $5 a day or something like that. And it's like, all right, that's where I start tapping out of this game completely. And that's a real bummer.
Rewind to the previous category, sorry. I had a window open and it just reminded me of two games that are underrated gems.
Yeah.
The World Ends With You, on the DS.
Oh, it's a great one.
And because it's the DS, Kirby Canvas Curse. You know, where you
Oh,
had to use the
yeah.
stylus to draw Kirby around. Like
Oh,
two
man.
super underrated DS games.
Yeah, that was a really cool game. Man.
Mobius, Final Fantasy Mobius wasn't too bad.
No, that was
I don't
pretty fun.
I don't remember the pay stuff with that because I
I don't remember.
I ended up transferring my save over because they released it on Steam as well. So it's in my Steam library as well, and I moved my I transferred my save to the computer. I haven't touched it in years, but I remember having a lot of fun with that. Just the different concepts they had. Because if I remember correctly, that was the one that you could switch what class your character was.
I think so. I didn't play that one as much as I played Final Fantasy Record Keeper. That actually just got delisted, so that would be a really good. Record Keeper was really cool because it was a like chibi-ized version of every Final Fantasy game, and you kind of went back through the highlights of the story, and they did a thing that I think I like a lot in mobile games, where so many mobile games are like, you're leveling your character, and then you're leveling their weapons and their armor and their accessories and their summons, and you have all this stuff. But in Record Keeper, you were obtaining characters, and then you were leveling up the weapon that you equip on them. That was really it. So it wasn't like, you need to pull on this banner for 7 different things for this one character. It's just like, this character, like Terra, is going to have her sword. That works well with her. It unlocks like a different ability, and then you just level that up. I thought that worked way better.
Did Soda Dungeon ever get delisted?
I don't think so, but I think they stopped development on it when Soda Dungeon 2 came out. And I think they're still supporting the second game.
I was like, because I know I did probably over a year ago. I still have it on my phone. I did download both the first one and the second one, but I didn't like the second one as much as the first one. Like I like that they added some extra stuff to it, but I wasn't as big of a fan of the second one.
It took me a long time to click with 2. When it did, I was having fun, but to me, I played that game once, and 2 wasn't significantly different enough for me to like have my phone plugged in and running idle while I'm playing something else. It never grabbed me the same way the one did all the way, way deep into that game.
What about and I am not going to get the name for these, but the ones where you played as like the video game studio or the whatever studio?
Oh, the Kairosoft games, like Game Dev Story.
Yes, there we go. Are those still downloadable too?
Yeah, and they just put them on PS4.
Did they really? Okay.
Yeah, Did they? I wonder if they put them on Xbox as well. But so they have an incredible amount of games out there, and the thing that I love so much about them is almost all of them are the same. There's some that are different, like there's a pirate sailing one, and there's like a dungeon village one that's different. But they're kind of the perfect comfort food of, if you learned how to play Game Dev Story, Mall Story is the same. All of these games are really the same in a way that I kind of enjoy a lot.
I did like Tiny Death Star.
Dude, oh my god,
the Tiny Tower. Tiny Tower and Tiny Death Star, those were really great. Sadly, the Kairosoft games are not on Xbox platforms yet, but they have a ton. I was playing Game Dev Story on the PS4 and just thinking, like, this is really weird. I like it, but this is a really weird experience.
I'm just trying to think of like super old mobile games that I checked out, because Tiny Death Star was one of them. God, that was fantastic.
I played Tiny Tower for so long. Tiny Death Star never really clicked with me, but man, those games are really great.
There was also that. Well, I don't know if it's been delisted either. That Fallout Shelter game. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not being delisted. It still has. Okay. It's still on there. It still has support, and they still have achievements.
Oh no. Okay.
Man, what other games do I have here that I like?
Snake.
I guess it hasn't been delisted, but Konami Pixel Puzzle, that nonogram game that clicked with all of us, thankfully. I haven't played it in a while. Desert Golfing is really good. I didn't like the sequel, which was Mars golfing. I didn't like that as much.
Was that the one where it had like all the golfing one that had all the weird level layout that you were trying to get the ball through?
Mm-hmm. It was like the
Okay.
side-scrolling, like one hole at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if we can...
Trying to think if there's the problem with me with Marvel games is either I play them for about an hour or like a day or two, and I'm like, all right, I gave it a shot, and I kind of don't like this, or I play it for like 4 years straight. There's no real in between of like, I played it for a couple months and I kind of liked it, but I dropped it. I guess Marvel Snap was like that for me, but normally it's just like either I'm 100% into it or it never gets off the ground.
I'm assuming you meant mobile games, not Marvel games, right?
That's true. I guess they're one and the same nowadays. But,
yeah, at this point, yes.
Yeah,
because the mouse owns everything.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, see, the thing with me is I never had so I never had a phone that could run games really, because my phone buying habits is I buy a phone, I use it until it literally cannot be used anymore, and then I buy a new phone. But I never like upgrade for the sake of upgrading. So like when I was playing Galaxy of Heroes, it was on like an iPhone 5.
Right.
And it very quickly became problematic because it just wasn't holding up anymore. And then when the screen broke on it and the battery died on it, I was like, okay, I'll get an Android. So I got a cheap Android phone, and that couldn't run a whole bunch of games either. So the phone I own now is the first phone I've got where it feels like it can actually run games.
Your phone isn't like sweating with the exertion of running a game.
Yeah, it's not melting my lap when I put my phone down after playing a game kind of situation.
Right.
So like I get into them for a little bit and then I just drop them because it's just like, yeah, the phone can't handle it anymore. It went to 32 kilobytes update instead of 12 or whatever. And whatever that Apple stupid thing is where they updated everything.
Yeah. And unfortunately, my Google, I didn't have a Google account on my first phone that I could start playing mobile games on, so my history doesn't go that far back.
Oh, sure.
So I can't even pull up like my history and be like, oh yeah, you guys remember this game? No.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was like Threes.
Oh man,
still buy that.
Yeah, that was great.
Hey! You used to be able to play Threes on a snapped tile on your Xbox. Thank you very much.
It's true. It's true. Next question here.
Things I miss.
Oh, man, yeah, for real. Snapping. Next question here. Owned but never played. As a casual collector of video games, I have a nasty habit of buying games and forgetting about them. Big same. Sometimes it ends up being an entire series. With that, what is a game or series of games that you own but have never gotten around to playing? I have all the Drakengard and Nier games, but haven't played a single one of them.
That's a time investment with that series.
Yeah. Drakengard is probably one of mine. I have all three. I think I accidentally got a review copy of the first or second one at some point, so I have that in my collection. But that's one for sure. I have so many games I have just never played.
I can drop a franchise like that on you real easy. I own them all, and I have only played the first one. Okay. Not even the first one. The fourth one, about 40% of.
Okay.
The Yakuza franchise.
Oh. Yeah.
Because they are all available on Xbox now. So I own Yakuza 1 through 3 remastered. I actually have the big box version of that stuff because I didn't think it would go digital.
Yeah.
I have the big box version of that stuff. I also bought them digitally. I have Yakuza 0, which is the only one I've played a decent amount of. I bought the remasters of everything else. I have Judgment and the sequel to Judgment, which I bought. And I also now have the first Like a Dragon. I have them all, and I have only played the first bit of one of them.
Yeah, I played Yakuza 0 and Kiwami 1 and a little bit of Like a Dragon, and I own physical copies of all of those, and even like the original PS2 ones, like the Mark Hamill PS2 ones, and I have played. Those are all the ones I've played. Yikes.
I'm trying to think, because I know I don't have full series that I haven't played or beaten yet.
Right, you've
I'm
always
trying
like
to-
dipped into one of them at least.
Yeah, I dip in and I either beat it or I don't because it just didn't click with me. But I don't. I'm trying to think. Like I have games on my shelf right now. I've got 3 of them that I haven't even talked about on the podcast yet because they're just
Right.
waiting for me to start playing them. But outside of that, everything that I own, I'm pretty sure I've gone through and beaten everything.
I'm looking at the collector's edition of the Utawara Ramono game on PS4 that I have sitting up there. Whoops.
Play it.
Forgot I bought a copy of Starlink Battle for Atlas, the one that came with that little controller, that little like R
My
wing
son
that
still
clips to
uses
your
that,
Switch
yeah.
controller. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I have so much stuff that because usually I wait until that stuff is dirt cheap, where it's like, oh yeah, here's a PS4 game for $7, and it's like, yes, I will buy a copy of that. I would probably never play it, but I have a copy of it, and it's now in my collection of too many games.
I literally talk about hard drive space a lot on this show for
Right.
a reason.
Right.
It's because I consistently will get things on sale for ridiculously cheap,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes not cheap,
Yeah.
and then never play them. So I mentioned at the end of last year we did Game of the Year for last year, and I mentioned that I was disappointed with how little B games I have played. So my Alpha Protocol award was a little bit lacking last
Yeah.
year, we'll say. And of course, I say that while we're recording just before the January sales hit.
Right.
So then I promptly bought like 7 B games and thought,
Right.
I'll play them this year. And so far, I haven't touched any of them.
Right.
And there are some in there that are hot banger looking B games.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, Wanted: Dead is probably not going to be my
Probably.
Alpha Protocol game.
Probably not, but you gave it a shot.
Yeah.
I actually have an entire series I own a bunch of that I didn't realize until I looked here through my collection that I, of course, have a giant spreadsheet that gets spit out of a specialized piece of software that I use to catalog it all. The Professor Layton games. I've played maybe an hour of the very first one and thought, wow, I actually really like this, and have purchased a couple of other ones and never played. I feel like every time I turn around, it's like, yeah, you missed 3 of them. It's like, oh, there's 10 of them now? Goodness, okay, cool.
Yep.
And I just never...
I love the Professor Layton games.
Yeah, I really like them. Like, I really like that kind of weird, out-of-the-box puzzling they do. And I never get to them.
All right, I got it now. All I had to do was open up Steam.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. As
Agarist.
someone who doesn't play games on the PC, I have too many Steam games, by the way.
That's the thing. Most of these I've gotten for free. Like my entire library, I think I've maybe bought 10 games out of, how many do I have? Like 150 on here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like the Agarist games, I've never played those, but I own all 3 of them. Generations of War 1 and 2 and 0.
Oh, I forgot about those games. Yeah.
The concept of it has always been interesting to me,
Mm-hmm.
but the execution of the game is
It's
very weird.
Wanting. Yeah.
Yeah.
This actually, sorry to like loop back about
No, you're fine.
4 questions back, but this reminded me of a game that came out on the DS that I totally forgot about. Talking about games that nobody remembers is Retro Game Challenge on the DS. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this was like a DS game.
It's a mini game based on the show from Japan, right? Or loosely inspired by the show.
Not really. What it turned out to be was all these mini games that had this wrapper of you kind of vicariously living through old copies of EGM, and like whenever a game would get announced in the magazine, then it would show up in the game, and the game would like get changed and updated as you go through and as like stuff got announced in the magazine. It was really cool and had a ton of really cool like they're technically mini games, but they actually turned out to be these kind of just small bite size. It'd be games you'd see as indie games nowadays, where it's like, oh, here's a cool thing you play for like 5 or 10 minutes in a collection of other 5 or 10 minutes games. It was really cool. It was a very, very unique, great thing that we never saw any other copies of here in the U.S. because it was apparently a nightmare to localize, which is not too surprising.
The next one that I have all 4 of them for is Penny Arcades on the Rain-Slick Precedents of Darkness, episodes 1 through 4. I know I bought one of them, but I think the other 3 somebody else gave me codes for.
Yeah, I played the first 2 of those, and those were fine. But they were, I don't know, like at 5 or so hours each. I mean, if you liked Penny Arcade, it was, pretty good.
It's fine.
Yeah. They were kind of short little self-funded things that I thought was neat.
But yeah, the rest of the things that I have on Steam, I'm not going to count because, like I said, I didn't buy most of these. So
yeah, it's sort of like you bought 700 games for $5. Good job. And it's like, oh boy, yeah, I really did.
Stranger of Sword City I got for free from NIS because I was the beta tester. My NDA's done on that. Okay. I don't have to worry about that. But I got that for free, and I don't think I beat it. But I know I got really far into it because there was like a ton of write-ups I had to do for that game before it released.
Oh, wow. Man.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to think if there's
good old Steam.
I'm trying to think of any other series, because there's like a million JRPG one-offs I have in my collection that I have never played. Like Nippon Ichi's Phantom Brave and La Pucelle Tactics and like all of these little games where it's just like, oh yeah, I forgot I have Radiata Stories.
See, Phantom Braid and La Pucelle are really good tactics games.
They're very good.
They take a little bit of getting into, though.
How about Rygar, the Legendary Adventure on PS2? When they tried to bring back Rygar and everybody was like, hey.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No thanks. We're good.
On Epic is one that I bought a long time ago and still have never played.
I've heard On Epic is pretty good.
Me too. I keep meaning to suggest it for Game Club and, forgetting about it.
It'd be a good Game Club game, yeah. Next question here. There are many one-off games that have been made that have really had an impact on me, but one I've always wanted to see more of was Midway's PsyOps The Mindgate Conspiracy, a third-person psychic power shooter for the PS2/Xbox. Which begs the question, what game would you like to see get the reboot, remake, sequel treatment? I'm trying.
PsyOps was the one that you could transfer your consciousness into like animals and stuff like that too, right? Or is that a different one?
I'm trying to pull up footage here because I believe that's the case, and I don't remember too much about it. And I don't remember.
I think it is. That looks super familiar.
Is this the one too that was like the first cover-based shooter, or what am I thinking of? That
it
influenced Gears of War.
It did have cover base, but I don't know if it influenced them or not.
Yeah, because there was one game like that influenced Gears of War pretty heavily, and Gears of War kind of popularized that kind of like pop out of cover shooter thing.
Yeah. Speaking of popping, I forgot that you could do.
Just electrocute people until their brains explode. Pretty good.
That was such a weird, interesting game.
Yeah. What would I like to see have a remake or a
Syndicate?
Yeah, the 2012
the
one?
remake of Syndicate.
They already did for the 360.
Yeah,
the remake. Yeah, I want a sequel of that game.
Yeah, I would like to see.
It's great.
I think that did Cyberpunk better than a lot of other games did, and I'd like to see that get another take on it.
And Winback is the one you were thinking of.
Winback, thank you.
Oh, okay,
that was the one. Yeah. Gosh, I feel like there's probably a million of them.
And then Kill Switch evolved it further.
Yeah,
and then
Kill
Gears
Switch
took it from Kill Switch.
Right. That's the lineage there. Gosh, what would
Vanquish, Boston? Do you want a new Vanquish?
I don't know. I didn't click with Vanquish, I think, as much as other people really did. I liked it. but I'm not entirely sure if I was the kind of the biggest champion of it. I would actually like to see another sequel to Dragon's Crown. I know we got that like remaster pro version that came out,
Yeah.
but I feel like they really nailed, we've always had an issue with the art content, which I think is still fair, but they really nailed that kind of like Magic Sword, Golden Axe kind of side-scrolling four-person co-op thing, but they give you enough reasons to keep going back and playing it and leveling up and kind of grinding in it. I'd like to see them do another take at that, and I think that could be pretty popular now that it would have like better online and cross-play and stuff like that.
I mean, I think we're getting arguably one of the ones here that would be in the discussion. If we're not getting a spiritual sequel to it, would be Stardew Valley, right?
Yeah, because whatever Haunted Chocolatier might turn out to
I think
be.
it's literally the name of it.
It is, yeah, and I'm still. I know that's a very long ways off because I know Concerned Ape is working with a team on Stardew Valley, but working on Haunted Chocolatier by himself. I'm really curious to see what that turns out to be, as here's the second game from the Stardew Valley guy.
Ghostwire Tokyo. Check out our Game Club episode from a couple of weeks ago. There's a game that I could really do with a sequel for.
Yeah,
I was just about to say, it just came out. It doesn't need a remake.
no, it's 6 months old. It looks like garbage.
It really doesn't.
Yeah, it actually.
But no, give me a sequel
really
to Ghostwire Tokyo. Boston, here's one for you.
Oh yeah.
Return of the Aubergine.
Oh man, I would love to see. It's one of those ones where it's like I want you to make another puzzle game, but I want to see what you're gonna do next. So like, I get it's okay and not okay that there's not another Aubergine, because I want it, but I also want to see what you're gonna do sort of beyond that.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, give me a Return of the Aubergine set in like a factory setting or something like that.
100%.
Just throw out there the obligatory Parasite Eve remake.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But my only concern with that is, since Square is no longer interested in doing, active time or waiting or anything, they want everything to be action.
Games.
Yeah, I don't want them to change it so that way you're basically playing Resident Evil 4. It's like, that's not why I loved that game, and not why I want them to redo it.
I could do it with a Resident Evil 2 remake style of Parasite Eve. Like, get that team to remake Parasite Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that would be great.
I want the stupid wire grid to still show up every time I go to shoot something.
Yep, 100%. Actually, speaking of old Square around that era, I would really like them to do a remake of Vagrant Story and kind of tighten up the gameplay on all of that, because I love it so much. But it was and is nearly impenetrable unless you're going to put a ton of hours into it or you're going to play it with a guide. And it's so cool and does so much technologically interestingly on the PS1. And it's such a cool, unique Square thing that we just never got.
Do we hope for KOTOR at some point? Like an actual good KOTOR?
Every time.
Yeah, because there's still that remake.
We'll get to that in the news stories in the main show, dude.
No. Wait, go ahead.
The team who was responsible for that is basically imploding.
No, that was the remaster. I'm talking about the full remake. Who was making the remake? I don't remember.
I think that got shelved a long time ago.
I'll look it up. But I it's one of those things too that like who is going to work on, well, like how do you modernize KOTOR? Yeah, Embracer Group bought that and they're doing one of their 15 companies is working on that.
I could tell you one game that definitely does not deserve a sequel or a remake,
Oh no.
but
Okay.
potentially I would like to see how monstrous they could make it. Saturday Morning RPG Boston.
Why do you have to punish me like that? It's one of the worst games I've ever played. My God. Thankfully, it launched limited run games. That's like the only thing good to come out of it, honestly.
Oh, I'm literally scrolling through Game Club stuff here, by the way.
Mhm.
This is The Police, dude. We need a new one.
Yeah, I would love to see a third one of that, because the first one is so good, and the second one...
It's so much better.
It tried some really cool stuff that I don't think entirely landed, but like really did some really cool stuff. Also, I would like a Castlevania collection with Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia. Just put that.
That's the DS ones, right?
Yeah, put those out on something, and just take out the drawing on the screen thing from Draw of Sorrow. Just make that automatically happen, and the rest of them are fine. So,
yes, please.
Yeah.
I could go for them making another Valkyria Chronicles game.
Yeah, I've been kind of surprised that's been quiet for a while.
It's because they released Revolution, which was not a Valkyria game, no matter how much Sega wanted it to be. And it was also not very well made. And they came out with the fourth one, which was absolutely fine, but everyone just crapped all over it because of Revolution.
And what was it? 3 came out on Vita, but not in the States, right?
PS,
is that the one? Or 2?
I can't remember if it's 2. I'll say it's either 2 or 3, and it came out on the PSP, and it never came out on the States.
Yeah.
Oh, like Parasite Eve 3.
No, we got Parasite
exactly.
Eve 3 on the PSP.
A game that didn't. It's like Godfather 3. It never came out.
There, you want me to pull it out?
That's right.
No.
The game that shall not be spoken of.
That's right. That's right. I would really like a modern version of Contact, the game that came out on DS. Marvelous Interactive made it and was published by Atlas. It was the one with like the fake Facebook, and you where can I get some footage here? It was like an action RPG where you are exploring this this planet and had a really cool style. You would have to do something kind of different with it because you were doing top screen and bottom screen stuff at the same time, but it had such a cool mechanic with the two of those, and it was this kind of cool exploration action RPG thing, and one of its biggest draws was you were getting kind of updates from the scientist that was working in the spaceship, but he was writing these. It was back with like LiveJournal and the start of Facebook and MySpace and stuff, where you had like your mood, where it's like the scientist is feeling happy, and then has a little status update and stuff like that. It was a really cool, kind of unique game. I'm trying to remember what else Marvelous Interactive made, because it's something pretty big, and I'm totally drawing a blank here. But I'd like to see at least a modern version of that, because it was a very cool, unique thing.
I want them to go through and re-release all of the Dot Hack games.
Yeah, one
because
package
those have gotten
of like
stupid expensive now to try to get.
Yep, one package of those with like all of the anime episodes in there too would be really great. Oh yeah, Marvelous Interactive made No More Heroes, Grand Blue Fantasy versus Sakuna Rise of Ruin, Rune Factory, all that stuff. They've made a bajillion really. Daemon X Machina, Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2. Like, they went on to make a whole lot of really great games.
Yep.
Goodness. Next question here. Gaming has always been such a great hobby / escape for me. Sometimes it doesn't always scratch the free time itch. What are some of your other hobbies to fill your free time outside of gaming? Also, number 1, free time, LOL. But anyways.
I like reading.
I read a lot, yeah.
My motorcycle is my new hobby outside of video games. Because
you're like getting your
bought
hands dirty hobby.
Yeah, I bought that fully intending to not tear it down to frame, but I'm planning on doing like a stage 1, stage 2 upgrade on it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to take a lot of work, and I got to find a place around here that'll let me bring it to get it dynoed, so that way I can get it measured in with horsepower and torque properly. So
Right.
it's gonna take a while. I'm not doing anything with it right now because right now I just want to ride around and get a feel for how it feels now, and then just kind of slowly start making changes to it so it fits me better, and then
Right.
start doing all the extra stuff. But yeah, that's primarily I bought it because I wanted something to tinker with mechanically, and
Yeah.
it's cheaper than buying a car to tinker with. So-
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever I'm looking for something to do, usually mine is reading. I do that a lot. But usually when I'm looking for something, I need to like stretch my brain a little bit. So I'll usually pick a new topic in kind of the tech/IT world and try and learn something new. Like that was me doing that Home Assistant thing, which unfortunately I don't have the long-term time to tuck into, but it's like, all right, let's learn kind of more about the Internet of Things, home automation stuff. Like, let's go down this rabbit hole. If I use it, cool. If I don't, that's fine. At least I got to learn, some more virtualization stuff, some more of the connectivity and API stuff. I like picking a topic like that and be like, I'm going to dive in kind of deep for a while, make my brain work a little bit differently than it has to, and then continue on. Sometimes I continue on with it for a long time, like Destiny Emblem Collector. That was me being like, let's work with APIs and JavaScript. Whoops, people are using it. Okay, great. And then sometimes it's
Now
sort of
you're
like,
hooked.
yeah, or like the Pi hole, which is your kind of whole house Raspberry Pi internet advertisement blocking thing. I still use that. But other times it's sort of like, that was cool. I learned something new. I'm not going to use it, but great. That's neat. I liked that. So
I get enough of that with work in IT. There's always somebody that bungled up some random thing.
I don't get to do that anymore for like my job. So I'm always sort of like, I need a problem to solve of my own making. All right. So
yeah, the newest thing I get to deal with at work was that apparently save as to PDF doesn't work at my job anymore. So it's like, all right, do print to PDF then. Which that works for a lot of things, but not everything. So then I'm like, all right, fine, then do export to PDF, which works for everything. But it's a lot of these people are single track mind, where it's like, oh, I've been doing this for 20 years and it doesn't work, so it's broken. I'm not going to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
I had to send out an email that said, if one more person emails me about this, you're getting blacklisted from everything.
I'm throwing your computer in the trash. Just try me.
Yeah. I free time, lol. Yeah, I mean that's the actual answer. Like
wherever we can find it.
60 minutes a day to play video games, and that's literally just me stopping to only play video games. I do like to read. I have a bunch of my favorite books on the shelf behind me back there. I like comics. I like graphic novels.
Yep.
But I tend to read weird stuff, so I haven't read the classics. I've only read odd stuff here and there. My pets, I love animals. Like I have been on a 2.5 month journey to try and get a fish tank to work properly.
That's always a challenge.
I think every family does something with a fish tank at one point.
Right, and then be like, never again, this sucks.
When we were kids, it was you put the water in the bowl, you put the goldfish in the bowl, problem solved.
Ta-da! Right.
These days, it's so much more complicated. So I'm not kidding when I say I've been doing that for almost 2.5 months. And at this point, I'm probably done with that particular project because it's not even for me. I am assisting.
Right.
Stupid millennial fish needing oxygenated water.
That's right. They're asking about their pH balance. Give me a break.
I'm sorry, what are these chemical tests that I need to do now?
Exactly.
Right.
Oh, my pH level went up one and everything's dead in the tank.
That's right.
Yeah,
see?
Literally. Yeah. Exactly what happened. Several times at this point. It's like, no. When you feed them a little bit. Overfeeding, chemicals go awry, things die. Great.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love my pets. Louise, obviously, should not have said her name out loud.
Treats. Treats. That's me.
The female cat who
That's
appears
right.
on the show. She obviously is quite important. There was something else I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, building stuff.
Yeah.
I do love like models and things like that. Like I've got my model kits over here on the corner.
Yeah.
I actually made I finished the Enterprise one the other day,
Nice.
which was a gift for somebody.
Oh, nice.
I've still got to do Mando and the Supernatural car. Slight problem is the Supernatural car is a glue-based one.
Oh no.
I don't like painting for the same reason I don't like glues.
Yeah.
Is because I have anxiety disorders out the wazoo, so my hands shake at the best of times. You throw
Right.
in trying to like
Now it's like putting these
glue
minuscule
two
pieces together.
like this, and it's just it's a difficult thing to do. We'll say.
That
Lego
reminded
has
me.
turned in.
Oh
Oh, go
god.
ahead.
Oh,
I was gonna say.
I was thinking like when I built that Horizon Zero Dawn, the
Oh yeah,
tall
the
neck.
tall neck.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, I really like doing this. I forgot how much I liked building kind of models and stuff like that, and I really love. I always really loved doing puzzles, but I never have.
Oh.
I have so many puzzles
That was my
behind
other
me.
thing.
Yeah, like I have these. I wonder if I can reach them. No, they're buried under this like poop hat we have. But I have these great puzzles that I got from the. I think it's called the Magic Puzzle Company. I'll see if I can grab them here in between questions. Oh, there you go, Baby Yoda
Yeah.
puzzle thing.
Reaching out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You probably can't see it, but yeah, it's all wooden. It's the wooden pieces.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
The puzzles that I have are like 2,000 piece, really big ones, but like all the pieces are really weird, and they say that the puzzle you put together is different than the one on the box, and then when you put it together, there's supposed to be like a big surprise that happens when you put it together. And I'm like, I want to build this so badly,
Hold
and
on.
I have
Hold
zero
on.
space.
I need to know the name.
Yeah,
what
let
was
me-
that name?
While you guys are talking, I'm gonna reach behind me and grab
Yeah.
one of them.
Okay,
What
I
was
need to
that?
know the name because I bought one of these wooden sets of puzzles for somebody as a joke gift because like have fun with that. And if there is a puzzle which is different from the box, that is the best screw you kind of gift that I could possibly get them, which I am super happy about.
As long as it's above 10,000 pieces.
Trying to put this on my desk
Basically.
without hitting the space bar to stop recording. So it's the Magic Puzzle Company. This guy right here is 1,000 pieces, and it is original art with a magical surprise on the end. It's also really interesting because it comes with a little bag that you can package the puzzle up if you want to give it to someone, and none of the pieces have any dust on them, which I thought was also really, really pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
cool.
Let me see if I can pull open some of these. And the whole thing is supposed to be like the puzzle is a little bit different than the one on the box, and then there's supposed to be a big surprise at the end once you finish it. And there's even
Click in the last piece and it just blows glitter everywhere.
Yeah, it explodes. Yeah, it says, stop, only open this envelope when the puzzle is done. And I haven't, but there's like stuff in here. It's
okay.
sealed up. So I'm not even
Interesting.
sure what that is. But like, I don't know, I started building it. It was actually a lot of fun. And a lot of so the whole thing they were selling is like each piece, I don't think I can show this on camera, but each piece is a picture. So each individual piece isn't really like it's supposed to be in theory. Like this one isn't half of a person's body and then another person. Like each piece is supposed to be an individual little picture that builds into a bigger picture. So I've really wanted to build these, but like I started building them when my kid was around, and she's like, "Ooh, I want to help," and then immediately like lost 100 of them on the floor, and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yep.
we're not gonna do. I love you very much, and we're not going to do this right now."
The names of these puzzles that they've got are pretty solid too. Like the Gnome's Homes,
Yeah,
the Secret Soup,
Yeah.
the Puzzled Patron. Like that, they've got some pretty solid names. I like this.
Yeah, I was gonna say my household is pretty much Lego. that we've all
Yeah.
turned to. I've been getting. My wife has really loved
I miss Lego.
those flower Lego ones. So we've been buying those for her, and then she's been doing like this whole Christmas. You know how old people have like the Winter Wonderland little porcelain house set for Christmas time? We're doing that with Legos.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
So I got her like
Baby
all the
Yoda as
Christmas
baby
Town
Jesus,
ones.
please.
Naturally.
No, we're not
Baby
doing
Jesus.
nativity set, but
Oh.
she's got like the trolley and stuff like that I bought for her last year for Christmas. And then I do have a ton of Gundam models that I've built, and I've still got.
I wish I cared about Gundam, because everywhere
Yeah.
I go that's model stores, it's like, here's a Gundam, here's a Gundam, here's a Gundam, here's a Gundam. It's
Dude,
like,
I've got.
I don't know anything about Gundam.
You don't need to know
Yeah.
anything. Just I grabbed one because he has It looks like he has a mustache and
A lot of
shield,
it is
and
like,
I was
wow, cool robot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I still have like an Astra Red in my closet that's a professional grade that I've been holding on to like 5 years now that I just need to build. Today, I actually rode my motorcycle out to go find a hobby shop 2 towns over.
Right.
And I found it, and they were closed today. So I'm like, all right, I guess I will go there Monday and see what they have in the stores.
Right.
Yeah, there's a local hobby shop near me, and it's like, oh, we're open late on these days. And I'm like, those are the days I can't show up. It's never open when I need you to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Hate
Gosh.
that stupid store.
I had to get out of Gundam modeling just because I was like, man, I don't have a whole lot of space to put these everywhere. And the rate I was buying them, because I got like really into it and bought like 15 sets and built them all.
And then you're like, oh, right, they're big.
Like that's the thing for me, is like, I'd love to do more models and more Lego, but at the end of the day, like, I don't have the space for it. I just don't. Like, and for models like that, I need them to be high where the cats aren't going to grab them. Do I put more shelves across this side of the wall? Like,
that's what I've been trying to fit, because I've got like a Millennium Falcon Lego set and an AT-AT Lego set that I already have built. And when my wife and I were living in an apartment, I had a high up shelf that they were on, but now they're just torn back down into boxes in my closet. And I've been thinking of pulling them out and like hanging them from the ceiling with like fishing line or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say one of my favorite things to do when I get like a 10-minute break or something like that is just not jigsaw puzzles, just puzzles in general. Like, I will always have a puzzle book with me almost everywhere I go. And that can be word searches, Sudoku, crosswords, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the show, but as someone who immigrated to a different country, that's the one.
You're not that far off.
Yeah, I'm not really. A really good way to tell how you are doing with slipping yourself into your new country is to just get a random word search magazine, pull it off the shelf at your newsagents or wherever you go, or not word search, crosswords, and see how many of those answers you know.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee if there's one thing that's culturally dependent on where it's produced, it's crosswords.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Because, like, this is a huge name in baseball. It's like, huh?
The base?
The
Joe
12th president
McBaseball.
of the United States. Huh?
Right. I do not know.
They starred in The Golden Girls. Huh?
That's a thing,
Like-
sure.
Like, I literally have a crossword book upstairs that's large font because I'm old now. And I literally have to, as I'm going through it, I'm just like, I have to start yelling out the clues because I don't know who.
Does anyone know what the Golden Girls is? It's like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I forgot what trivia game we were playing, but yeah, it was supposed to be something like that where you do it by yourself, and then eventually it just kind of turned into a family thing of, hey, in 1996, who starred in, whatever
Right,
thing.
and you're like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Titanic, or, whatever.
Right. That leads us nicely into our next question here. We all have those certain TV shows that we go back to and rewatch time and time again, or wouldn't normally fit the bill for shows in your wheelhouse. What are your guilty pleasure TV shows or series? My top show would probably be New Girl, a sitcom starring Zooey Deschanel, featuring an amazing cast of characters dealing with life, love, and sometimes an incredibly confusing drinking game. My top series would be Below Deck, and I'll pass off Boston to give you the goods on that. Yes, Moon, with your hand up.
Yes. I'm sorry, I wasn't doing it the correct way.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for putting your hand up in Skype. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
That
you may unmute
keeps the
yourself
meeting
now.
moving smoothly. Thank you very much.
We're actually doing a show about one of my guilty pleasure TV shows.
Hey, now that you mention it, over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers. Supernatural was literally one of my guilty pleasure TV shows for decades. It was one of those ones that if I was doing something else, if I was busy, if I just needed white noise, I would put Supernatural on and then just like background, listen to it, watch it, do whatever. Here's the potentially creepy part. I used to fall asleep with Supernatural on in the background.
Sure.
Which
I mean,
includes
some
the
interesting dreams.
intro. Yeah, but it's also
Hi, it's
the
me,
intro
Satan.
sequence, which has screaming and stuff like that in it.
That's
It's
right.
kind of weird. So Supernatural for me was that show for a long time.
Yeah.
I'd always get to the same point and then drop off it for a while and then go back and start it again because it's been so long since I'd watched it. But Parks and Rec is my number one. Easy. Parks and Rec is my number one here. Like, it's so easy to go back to like season 2, 3 of that show and just love every moment of it.
Yeah.
Mine's Star Trek.
Can't go wrong. Yeah.
We have Pluto TV on one of my old PlayStation 4s, and I didn't realize that they had an entire channel just to Star Trek.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's fun.
Yeah, and so that popped on, and I'm like, oh, hey, it's Next Generation. I remember this episode, and I start watching it, and like 3 hours later, I'm already like 6 episodes deep, and wife's like, how long are you going to watch this? Like, apparently they're doing a marathon. I was just here for the one episode. She's like, no, and she's like, no, it's a channel. All they play is Star Trek. And I'm like, I guess this is where I'm at now. But
yeah.
I don't really watch TV, honestly, or even movies and stuff that much anymore. I want to go see like the new Spider-Man movie that came out. And I want to see the Mario movie when that eventually, hits home release, but I'm not that person anymore, unfortunately.
I'm trying to get back into watching more TV and movies because like when my kid was really young I just couldn't, and same with listening to music. Like I just fell out of it completely because you're trying to keep this tiny little human alive. And like probably my most watched TV show right now is probably either Bluey or Arthur, but that's kind of not the spirit of the question. I think probably my favorite one of all time is probably New Girl. What's up?
The Thundermans. The Amazing Thundermans, whatever that show is.
No. I think it's probably New Girl. I think that's probably one of my favorite sitcoms. I really wish that there was, just like Star Trek, I really wish there was a channel that just played old Iron Chef episodes. And like I think
Pluto TV does.
Yeah, and like the thing that apparently is a problem is the rights of like the original voicing, the like voiceover, like the Fukui-san. Like, yes, go ahead. Like that, I want that original like kind of garbage translation and voice acting one. Like that's the one I would just want on 24/7. I'll probably have to do it on my own Plex server and just put it on shuffle. That's a problem. Talking about projects in my free time, that's another project of doing that.
That's a hobby. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it's kind of a bummer because like we've lost out on that. Just like, I'm going to turn on Food Network and for the next 6 hours they're just going to show dumb stuff, and here we go.
The last time my family and I rented a cabin up north, that was like when we finally got there, that was what we did. We couldn't find anything good on TV. Yeah. And so we just watched Food Network, and it was like 2 hours of diners, drive-ins, and dives, and then like a couple other things here. And then Iron Chef finally came on, and it's like, all right, this is what we're doing for the first day.
Speaking of that, I've been watching more of The Great North, and Guy Fieri is a character in that as like a spirit guide, and it's really good. He's like, there's a lesson to be learned here. Sometimes you look at a trash can and you think, gosh, that's just gonna be full of trash, and then you open it up, trash can nachos. Your life is really great. I was just like, okay, great, you nailed it. I like it.
Guy Fieri is like a weird, because now we're getting off. I'm getting us off track, but
no, please.
I I have only ever heard him do good things. Like he's
Yes.
always out there helping to like feed the homeless, and
Right.
he's helping kids with things and stuff.
He
But
hates
there's like
eggs,
it's like
but he loves volunteering.
yeah, but it's like this weird Nickelback thing where it's like everybody hates him for some reason,
Right.
but I can't figure out why. And
You
it's like
look
the
at him
same
and
thing
you're
with
like, this is going to
Nickelback.
be the most annoying human on the planet. It's like, well, he's actually doing a lot of good for like small communities and small restaurants and,
Yeah.
you know, like doing a lot of volunteering and philanthropic work. He's pretty annoying, but he's doing some good stuff.
I was gonna say he may not be your cup of tea, but it's like once you hear what he does, it's like all right, no, I can
seem
watch
like
a
a
couple
good
more
dude.
episodes of
Yeah.
diners, drive-ins, and dives.
That's right. That's right. You seem like a good dude, Guy Fieri.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry.
I'm trying to think if there's anything
guilty TV
else.
stuff. Gordon Ramsay, anything that, right?
Yes, Gordon
Yeah,
Ramsay.
anything Gordon Ramsay is on. I
Have you
enjoy
seen
watching.
Next Level Chef?
I have, yes.
Next Level Chef is really good.
Ramsay.
But like, I love too how, specifically with anything that he does, whether he's like critiquing a restaurant or he's helping chefs or he's helping children.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we all know him for being that a-hole that yells at people and
The
throws
American
stuff.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he caters it to who his peers are.
Mm.
Like with the kids, the what was it, the Iron or the Master Chef Junior or
Yeah,
whatever?
Master Chef. I
Like,
forgot about that show.
Dude was there as like a teacher, and
Yeah.
he would call out the kids when they did something wrong, but he wouldn't yell at them. He would say, "Hey, you made this mistake."
It's not
from
calling
here."
the kids a stupid donkey. Like that's
Yeah,
the other
you
show.
know? He's actually there guiding
Right.
them and helping them. And there was like that one kid. God, we're gonna keep doing this. There was that one kid who wanted to be a baker, and he was like, you tell me when you get your restaurant. Here's my contact information, and I'll be the first one in your door. I mean,
Yeah.
the dude's solid, but he'll also not hold back if you deserve it. So,
The thing is, he treats adults like adults, and
Yeah.
he treats kids like kids.
It's
Like
like
that
you
is
wanna-
the credit I will give.
yeah, you want to run a restaurant. This is what you need to do.
Maybe don't
You've
poison
done
your
it your
guests.
way, and it doesn't work. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my favorite one of him will forever be "I'm an idiot" sandwich.
Yes, that's a classic.
That might be one of my favorite things to ever come out of the internet. Is just the screenshot of him holding up 2 pieces of bread.
My favorite one is with Legend of Zelda Link, when you get like the pixelated thing and it's Gordon Ramsay holding it and yelling at Link about what is that.
Right. I really like Gordon Ramsay a lot, and I don't like a lot of the stuff that he does for American audiences, but I really like a lot of his European stuff.
Yeah.
Especially the Kitchen Nightmares over there is really great because, like Moon said, he's gonna treat adults like adults. Like if you have a cool restaurant and you just can't make it and you're doing everything right, he's going to help you. But if you're poisoning your guest with seafood you haven't put in the fridge for 2 days, he's going to yell at you, and you kind of deserve it. I also really liked his show. I think it was only like 6 or 8 episodes, called The F Word, and it was a really good one of him like going around and finding cool restaurants and then cooking interesting dishes for a bunch of he himself was cooking stuff in a restaurant for a bunch of people that were like there for the TV show, and it was nice to see him doing the cooking for people and kind of dealing with, oh, this person needs this order, this is what they got to change, like I need to go talk to this guest. He actually, I'll never forget it, he went on the show, he had somebody who was, I think, vegetarian, and he came out and he said, all right, I have a wonderful risotto for you, we're going to cook it like this. And she goes, and he's like, you got a problem with my risotto? And he was like starting to get upset, and she goes, no, I love being vegetarian, but every time I go out to a restaurant, that's the thing that's on their vegetarian menu. And this was probably like 15 years ago. And he goes, and she's like, there's so many more things you can do. I'll eat your risotto, of course, but that's kind of disappointing because I have risotto every time I go out. And he was like, you know what? That's a really good point. Let me make you something great. And he like went and he whipped up something incredible. And I was like, that's really cool, because most everybody would be like, I'm going to make you the best risotto. Oh, you have a problem? Little baby. And she's like, no, he like took the feedback and he's like, that is a really good point. I'm going to go make you something really cool. I was like, that's great. You didn't need to do that, especially on TV.
Yeah.
So what we're finding is that we're all huge Food Network fans.
I really am.
I will only I'm iffy on. Look at that attended to a Foodcast again. Who would have thunk it?
That's right. We haven't even gotten to the Foodcast question.
I know.
Yeah. I will say, like, I'm not a huge fan of sitting down and watching cooking shows, mostly because I am one of those freaks that food equals fuel. I don't care how it tastes.
Like the artistry of it.
Yeah, like
right.
I will happily sit there and like, oh, this chicken is slightly overcooked. That's fine. I don't care. It's going in me to let me do the things I need to do.
It's not charcoal.
If I could get
charcoal, I'll eat it.
Yeah, if I could get a slop that gives me all of the essential vitamins and minerals that I need for a day.
Your NutriGoop.
Yeah, I will happily eat the NutriGoop every single time.
Yep.
I will say there is one chef who I will stop what I'm doing to watch, and this actually references to a critical misses that you guys will hear on a special date, and that's Heston Blumenthal, who is aka the mad scientist of cooking. This is the guy who, like, he had a special show on the BBC, I think it was, where he took ideas and turned them into like food concepts. So he had like a Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory episode.
Okay.
What was his show called? Heston's Fantastical Food?
Yeah, I think that's the one. And like he literally made edible wallpaper. He is insane. He is literally a mad scientist who just does stupid things with food.
Yeah, it was an episode called Heston and the Giant Sweet Factory.
Like, apparently he has the best chocolate cake on the planet, I hear, and he makes it with liquid nitrogen and industrial grade mixes for like tar industrial grade mixes. And when you get his cookbook, he's got, this is how I make it. This is how you can make it.
Oh, that's cool.
He's like, you're not going to have access to liquid nitrogen, I hope. So here is how you can make this kind of stuff. But the dude he's insane. He is all about the mechanics of the stuff. And I really appreciate seeing him being insane in how he works.
That reminds me of a show, since you mentioned chocolate. You've probably seen him on social media, the guy that builds crazy contraptions out of chocolate. He's making, like, here's a functional clock, and it's made out of all chocolate pieces. He has a show on Netflix called School of Chocolate that it's only like 6 or 8 episodes or something. What I really liked, I started watching it thinking, like, oh, it's going to be one of these elimination shows. And he did something that was super cool when he eliminated the bottom 2 people at the end of the first episode or whatever. He said, you're not getting kicked off the show. You two need the most help, so you're going to work with me for the next challenge so I can teach you and I can improve your skills while the other people go do this challenge by themselves. They don't need my help. You do, so I'm going to help you. And I was like, yes, that's cool. That's what I want to see. I don't need to see this person goes home at the end of the day and they're crying and sobbing because this was their biggest dream and they need this money for insert sob story here. I'm like, that's really cool.
That's kind of why we started watching Nailed It. Like, my kids love that show. But it's like, you have the possibility of winning 10 grand, but it's not... Yeah, it's not like Cutthroat Kitchen or anything like that.
That was a pretty good show for a while.
I mean, it is, yes, but I'm just saying it's not
a very different vibe.
Drastic. Yeah, and it's always like the most random assortment of people. It's like, oh yeah, this is some dude's grandmother who's been cooking for 80 years, and this is like some top primo chef who just got out of university, and you know,
this undying nightmare they made in cake form.
Yeah.
All right, we got 2 questions left here. Second to last one here. We all need a little R&R every now and again, be it taking a personal day and just hanging out or taking a little trip with family or friends. But what would your dream vacation be if you didn't have to worry about responsibilities or expense? Bill says, I would love to go back to Europe. My wife and I did a full tour of Italy for our honeymoon. Jealous. But I would love to go back for another couple of weeks to visit the UK, France, Germany, or Norway.
I mean, UK, and number one would be for me right now because I haven't been back in so long, and there's some things I miss.
That's like a
Sausage
good
rolls.
practical vacation.
Yeah, sausage rolls. I miss you so much.
The train sausage rolls. Oh man,
Dude, sausage rolls. They are the they are the Little Caesars of England.
yeah.
You go in, you spend £3, you get 4 sausage rolls, maybe a patty,
right.
and a dessert, and you walk out and you're full for the day. Sausage rolls are the best.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm hoping that within the next 2 years I do get to do my stupid idea for a vacation,
Your
which
grand
is
tour.
I want to. Yes, I want to literally drive from here in New York to there
That's
in
me.
California.
Right.
And
Coast
then
to coast.
drive back again in a different direction. So
Right.
take the north route there, the south route back.
Right.
There's a bunch of spots I actually want to hit along the way. And as I roll backwards here, you guys can vamp for like 10 seconds.
I was mostly wondering if he was trying to avoid running over a small cat.
Louise, yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
I
oh,
was 100% literally right here.
right.
I literally have this.
USA's
which is
best trips.
a bunch
51
of
amazing road trips.
inspiration for
Nice.
places to go and see along the way. And it literally is color coded by like states and areas and
That's
things
cool.
like that. So, referencing Sons, it does have a guide to Oklahoma's tribal trails.
Fun.
So,
You should look
Stuff-
up getting a national park badge.
Oh,
that way you can go.
100%.
Yeah,
We're gonna get one of those too.
trust me, that's already on my list.
because I got
Yep.
my. They're free. Like I
Right.
got mine for free. So
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I want
my-
to do that, and then to be honest, I just want to go to Japan. I just want to see exactly how different it is and how
Right.
not different it is. I want to have sushi served by a robot.
I want to go to one of those ramen shops where it's just the little like stall and you never see the person and you just put the order in and they have the little window in front of you and like no one ever talks to you and they serve you like the best ramen for like 1,000 yen.
I want to just walk down the street and put money into each vending machine, and then at the end just see what I got.
That's right. I want to do a bunch of gachapon and see what crazy things you get. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my dream vacation is really because I'm so introverted, he says to the internet, that like
we've talked about this before. It
I know.
doesn't count because it's just us three.
that's right.
And
It's
what
just me
exists
alone
on
in
the
my
other
office.
side of the monitor
yeah,
doesn't
like-
count.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just eavesdropping on us. That's
That's-
all it is.
That's right. I think
How
I would,
dare you?
I think I would really want like to go somewhere where you can like sit in like a cabana on the beach and I just want to lay there for a couple of hours. I only want someone to be like, your drink order, sir? And I'll be like, give me your fruitiest non-alcoholic drink and put like a twisty straw in it. And like keep them coming. And then like I don't want anyone to talk to me. I just want to like
Heck yeah.
sit in silence for a day and just
So you hit
nobody
the
needs
buzzer.
anything from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, there's parts of Ireland that you would adore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
someday.
my wife and I are going on. The whole family are going on a Disney cruise at the end of this year. That's one of her big things that she wanted to do.
Right.
I would actually like to bring either my family or just my
flamethrower?
wife. No.
On the cruise?
To all the places that I lived as a kid. So like I'd
Oh,
love to go
cool,
back
yeah.
to Exmouth and live in Australia again for a while. Go back to Puerto Rico, go back to Hawaii, you know.
That'd be cool.
Bring them all with me too. So just see how everything's changed since the
Right.
last time I've been there in over
Right.
15 years probably at this point now.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Because I know Exmouth, I've pulled up like on Google Maps a couple of times and just seen how much it's changed there, but I can still see it's like, oh hey, that's my old school and that's the house I used to live in, and this
Right.
road used to go this way, and you know,
Right.
so
That's cool.
Well, it's like, did you guys ever go back to your like I don't know what it's called over here over in England? It's junior school, like the school you went to when you were very small.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Because like when I left that school, a long time after I left that school, my mother still worked there. So every now and again, I would go back and like do pickups or help out with stuff or whatever. And it was always that sensation of you go in, they've got the class of the sports team photos on the wall. It's like, yep. There's me, and there's me, and there's me.
Yeah.
Yes, I did sports. Don't judge me.
Oh, I did too.
So I play football.
Yeah.
You walk in and like the chairs go up to like your knee, and you're
Yep.
like, how the hell?
You're a big person in there, and it's like, this place is not sized for me.
How did I fit in that seat? How is this wall, which I thought was a monolith when I was a child, is like 6 foot tall? I can stand on my tiptoes and look over it now. Like
the real
whole experience.
The real wild thing is I went to school at the same school from kindergarten until 8th grade. So like the entire breadth of growing up you have to do, where you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna leave school and I'm passing by the kindergartners and they're like 2 feet tall and you're in 8th grade. Like that was really pretty wild.
Gonna say I used to have that because my sister, when I was in 8th grade, she started going to the elementary school that I went to for a little bit. And yeah, it was that same thing. It was like I would go sit in the front office because they remembered me,
right?
And yeah, you'd go back there to pick up my sister, and yeah, desks and chairs are all like knee height, and, and like the doors are barely tall enough for adults to walk through for some reason. I mean, all the water fountains in the specifically the bathrooms, it always felt weird using the bathrooms there.
Right. Yeah, going to a parent-teacher conference for my kid in kindergarten. It was the teacher at her desk, and like that's low, so the kids can sit at it too. But they just gave us the kid chairs, and I'm just like, bro, come on, can I just like sit on the floor? Like that's not too much different.
We had that with my daughters too, where it's like, yeah, I sit down in that chair and my knees are up to my chest.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to break this chair. I'm not a big dude, and this chair is unhappy.
It's the water fountains for me. That was the one that always got me. Is like, is this a water fountain for ants?
Right. You feel like a giraffe at the watering hole, like spreading out your legs. Like, oh man. All right. Last question here. What would be a TVGP mailbag episode without a food question? Not an episode I would want to listen to. That's for sure. That's right. Let's keep it simple here. All dietary restrictions or health concerns aside, what is your one food to rule them all? Dish or type of dish?
I'm torn because I got 2 answers for this.
Okay,
both are equally valid.
Let me finish this question first. I think my type of food would be a smash burger, probably because I've been making them nonstop on my griddle. There's just so many ways to make them. I haven't come across a bad one yet, but they aren't good for me. That's for sure.
Okay, number one, what's a smash burger?
It's essentially you put a burger patty and then you like smash it down into the griddle, so it turns really kind of flat and very crispy. It gets like a kind of like thin. Like a crispy kind of not coat on it, but like
you're charring it. Well, not even.
Yeah, you're kind of charring it. It gets like a crispy outside on it.
It's like when you do like a medium rare, where it's like you're browning the outside of it,
right?
But
they're really
so thin.
It's really good.
Usually
have like
browns out.
One burger is like 2 patties because they're so thin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's easier for you to just go upstairs right now and just do it right now and let us know what you think.
Yeah, there you go.
Go on. We'll wait. Go on.
No,
that's right.
I have my answer for this.
Okay.
Especially if you take dietary restrictions and health concerns out of this. It's two options, and they're both the same conceptual thing.
Ooh.
So you can take this how you will.
Okay.
It's a sandwich and it's a pizza.
Okay.
I thought you were going to go burrito and pizza.
They're both bread based.
Yep.
Sure.
And then you can make both of them however you want. And they are almost always delicious. Almost always.
Yeah. I feel like pizza is probably like the gimme answer for this, especially because I can't have them anymore. And it very much is the thing where it's like you can have your perfect pizza and someone else looks at it and they're like, that's a disgusting pile of trash. And it's like, no, it's my perfect pizza. Also
it's
rude.
My disgusting pile of trash.
That's right. It's a delicious pile of trash. Thank you.
Hey, when I went to Florida, I had 4 different types of pizza with friends, and we all disagreed on which was the best kind of pizza.
Did somebody fight over seafood pizza?
No, I don't think we had any seafood on it because seafood was disgusting.
Yeah.
It depends on where you get it and how it's prepared. But
I'm not a big seafood guy, so that's not. But I'm also a big Hawaiian pizza fan. So, a lot of people will be like, your
I-
opinion is invalid.
I don't get the
cares?
hate for pineapple on pizza.
The thing is, people are always like, "Oh, the pineapple's cold and the pizza's hot," and it's like, okay, like, and they're also always like, "Oh, the ham isn't very good." And it's like, put bacon on there; it's a better pizza.
Yeah.
I solved the problem for you, you actual whiny babies. It really gets my goat when people are like, "Oh, this piece of food that you love that makes you happy, it's disgusting garbage food that you like." Look, if you're eating a Baconator 3 times a day, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not good for any part of your body. But if every once in a while you're like, "I'm gonna get a large pizza and I'm gonna make it exactly how I want it, and I'm gonna eat too much and be a little bit sick," that's fine. You get to have a little treat.
Yeah.
But don't be like, your favorite thing sucks. It's like, that's just being a jerk.
Yeah, I mean, you get yourself a barbecue chicken pizza with jalapeno butter spread on top, and every once in a while.
Hey, Boston, just be thankful there isn't a Food Sins YouTube channel that made it as big as Cinema Sins did, because
we were really close with that. What was that YouTube channel? I'm sure they're Nazis at this point, because that's the trajectory how it goes. But like, remember the food challenge where they'd go to McDonald's and they would get like 50 Big Macs and they would make that into like a Big Mac lasagna, and it was like, I don't remember what that channel was called.
There's probably Guy Fieri, dude.
It's true. It's me. He rips off the mask. It's me, Guy Fieri, and he takes off like the voice modulator from Mission Impossible 2.
Don't look it up, dude. Don't say it out loud. It's fine.
No, because there's going to be a controversy part on their webpage of just like,
it's not going to be a controversy part on their webpage. It's going to be a JPEG with text on it on their Twitter feed, dude. Come on.
That's right. I didn't mean to say that word. That's not who I am. That word isn't in my vocabulary.
I don't ever say it.
That's right. I never say it. I would never say it, except I said it on film and we edited it and put it on YouTube. But anyways.
Yeah. Dude, anytime you deep fry something like county fair food.
Oh man, here in San Diego we have that famous deep fry thing where they just deep fry anything, and I had a deep fry Oreo there once.
We have a garbage plate over here in this town.
That garbage plate looks so good.
It's delicious.
Yeah. It's just anytime we go to any county fair or anything like that, or we have like a festival and you've got like the little food trucks and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, deep fried like pickles or bologna or whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, how much?" I mean,
yeah, like how fast can you get it into me? Too hot that it burns my mouth a little bit.
What was it? The deep fried Pepsi that they did a while ago?
That looked really good.
Dude, I paid like $3 for one of those, and I'm like, "Man, this is gonna be garbage." And I'm like, I hate that I like this.
My garbage food around here is carne asada fries, where it's just fries, a whole way too much carne asada, and then like you have guac and sour cream and cheese and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Sounds amazing.
It's so, and it's always like, I want one order of it, and it comes in like the biggest styrofoam thing ever, and it's way too much. It's like, all right, well here we go. Let's do this.
I think. I think, the key is if you ever travel, and not many people, some people don't travel, and that's fine. I think growing up in the town I grew up in, where our specialty dish was just a hot soup full of bullshit. I think if you're traveling and some town that you're going to has a specialty dish of any kind, like I don't if it's seafood, I will try it. Like, I don't really care what it is. Give it a go, because it's there and it's well known in that place for a reason.
Yeah, like try the local specialty of just like, you might not like it, but like
you listed like 3 things in that fries that I don't like, but I'll still order it and give it a shot.
Right. Like if you were to come here, I would give you a California burrito, because it's like, it's one of the local specialties, and it's a burrito with fries in it. So like, how could you really dislike it? And like, it
makes me miss the potato burrito from Taco Bell. That was so good.
Oh yeah, yeah. Or out here, Del
Nope.
Taco, that somehow has like a taco place that has the best fries, which is still very strange.
Those fries from Taco Bell are awesome too.
Oh, really?
I would eat a ton of them because, especially when you dip them in the nacho cheese that they give you. It's like, oh my god!
Some
But
good
anyway,
nacho cheese.
I've even had it where it's like we would go in when we first went into a Mediterranean restaurant for the very first time. I had no clue what to expect, so we just got a platter. And I think my wife had some experience with Mediterranean food, but I had never. And the only thing that I absolutely could not get myself to like was baba ganoush. For some
I've
reason,
never had
for me, like the smoky flavor that's in it, it's too intense for me. I don't like it at all.
Oh, okay.
And for her, I forget what it's called, but it's something with like grapevine leaves or something, or it was something that was cooked in a leaf. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Sure.
That she didn't like, that I was fine with, but like everything else on that platter that we got is fantastic. I don't remember the name of any of it, but I mean, like we still go to that restaurant. It's like, can we get that platter just without the baba ganoush?
Can I get like the white people sampler platter, please? That was me going to an Indian restaurant for the first time, where it's like, all right, we'll see what's going on in this thing. All right, all of this is legitimately delicious. I want a little bit of everything that you make here, please.
So the one Indian restaurant that we go to, they have a variety naan basket, and we order 2 of those and just like 2 random things off the menu every time.
Keep the naan coming until I say stop.
Yes.
And then one more.
Yeah. I mean, I love doing that, where it's like just going into a different culture and just, you know, be it a restaurant or another country or whatever, and just being like, okay, just what do you have? Don't explain to me what it is, but what would you suggest?
Yeah.
Because sometimes a lot of people get freaked out when they get like the description of what the food is before they even try it. It's like, just close your mind off from it. And
in a lot of family restaurants, you can go in and say, like, I have never had this type of food before, whatever the food is going to be, and just say, like, what should I have for my first go? And, like, it's probably, like, the happiest customer they're going to have. It's just like, what should I try if it's here my first time? Like, they're more than happy to do that. So, yeah. All right.
You didn't answer the question, by the way.
Who, me?
No, nobody except for me did.
I said burritos and pizza.
Okay.
I mean, mine is also pizza, but I feel like that's kind of a gimme, but like we said, there's so few things in life that's as good as just getting a good pizza and taking that, like, having that first slice and just being like, yes, this is perfect.
Because who doesn't like warm bread?
Right.
I mean, that's the
warm bread with cheese on it,
right
like
there. Yeah.
And man, I haven't had it in so long, and I just need to go back to New York at some point. But like, finding the grossest pizza shop in New York City and just going in there and just getting like 2 slices of the foldable pizza.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's so good.
Watch all the grease just drain off of it.
all over my clothes, and I'm super happy. I feel like it's like the safe answer, and I feel like it's the one that everybody gives, but I feel like it is pizza, just because it's so variable and it is so almost kind of personal, in a way that it's like, I want my pizza, and that's gonna make me happy.
Personal pizza?
That's right. I want my little personal pan pizza, right? But like, it's this thing where you can get this pizza from this place, and if you're having a bad day or you have a craving or whatever, that's going to make you feel better. Like this pizza that maybe isn't perfect, it may be like $7 and it's kind of a garbage thing, but it's the thing you want right now, and it's the thing that's going to make you happy. And I think there's a lot.
And pizza can be anything. It's a blank slate.
Yeah.
Like, you can make yourself a breakfast pizza where you just crack an egg over it, fry up some sausage, and throw it on top, throw it in the oven.
Hell yeah.
I do. Put some gravy on that bad boy. Yeah, that's my breakfast pizza right there.
That's right.
I've got like jalapeno pizza downstairs that I'm dying to try right now. I mean, there's like, my wife picked up a cauliflower, where the crust is made out of cauliflower.
Oh, we have that all the time.
Yeah,
that's my kid's favorite pizza. Is the company name called Bonza makes it. It's in an orange box. That's her favorite pizza. You stick it in the air fryer for 8 minutes, it comes out perfect. It's great.
But then there's like, dessert pizzas, where it's like they basically made like a thinner pie and you just put ice cream on top of it. I mean,
It's really
pizza
good.
can be whatever you want it to be, and
Yeah.
that I do understand why you think that's such a cop-out answer, because it can be anything, but
Yeah.
that's what makes it so great, is that it's
It's the
whatever
best
you
and
want
worst
it to
answer.
be. Yeah.
That's right. So 3 out of 3 TVGP says pizza. Try it today.
Let's call Guy Fieri and see what he feels about pizza.
That's right. What's your perfect
I'm
pizza,
sure
Guy
he's
Fieri?
made some monsters.
It's probably like 6 inches thick. It's got so much
Oh
stuff
yeah, you
on
get
it.
like that thick, dude, cornbread pizza, and you get like
Yeah.
Chicago deep dish. Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't really like deep dish, but I get it. I get why people like it.
I'm not a big fan of deep dish either normally, but that cornbread one that I had, that was amazing. There was one that I got when I was out in Wisconsin where they had like it was like a pig that they just slaughtered on top of this pizza. And it was just like whole slices of meat on this thing, and it was probably about a good inch thick. I don't remember I'd have to look it up, but that was the best $23 I spent on a pizza.
I love a good stuffed crust, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yep.
Even the pizza crusts are pretty good too.
Yeah. All right. We're going to end that on a high note with pizza and Foodcast. Multiple Foodcasts this time. Thank you again, Clarissa and Bill, for writing in these questions. We filled up just short of 2 hours with all these questions.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Next week, we will be back with kind of our standard episode. Hopefully our podcast vacation and otherwise went well. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye. That's either going to be bumper or real short.
Yeah.
Bye.